Let me give me a minute. I will share the screen. Yeah. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about strings in Python language, and then followed by data structures which are available predefined in Python language. Okay. So first of all, we will see what is meant by string and how to write strings in Python language, and we will see how to handle the strings by using some predefined functions. Then later we are going to discuss about the data structures available in Python language. Okay, so we will start with strings. So generally, as you know, in other programming languages, string is nothing but a collection of characters, or we can say group of characters. Okay, so in Python language, string is nothing but collection of characters or group of characters which are enclosed within single quotes or double quotes or triple quotes. Okay, in Python language, it is possible to write the strings within single quotations or double quotations or triple quotations. There are three possibilities. But in other programming languages like C language or Java language or C++, always within the we are going to enclose strings within the double quotations. Okay, but here in Python language, it is possible to write the strings within single quotations or double quotations or triple quotations. Mostly we are going to use single quotes or double quotes. Okay, we can write like this. We can write some string name and is equal to some ABC, for example, like this. Okay, within single quotes you can write some group of characters which is considered as a string here. Similarly, you can write like this: S2 is equal to some Shreyas. That is also a string. Okay, so as you know, Python is a object oriented programming language. So whatever the strings you are creating, that is called as a string object. Okay, whatever the strings you are creating, that is considered as string object here. So this is S1 is one string object, S2 is another string object here. So you may write either single quotes or double quotes, or you can use triple quotes also. Mostly the triple quotes can be used for writing multiple lines of text. Okay, if you want to write a multiple lines of statement text like this, this is a workshop on data structures using Python. Okay, if you want to write such type of statements, you have to use triple quotes. When you want to write the multiple lines of text, you have to write triple quotes. But that is rarely we can use, but mostly we can use single quotes and double quotes for declaring the strings in Python language. Okay, so let me show you in the online editor. Yeah, this is my online editor where we can see select Python. Yeah, so S1 is equal to some, I'm writing ABC. Then if I want to print this one, print of S1 I can write. Then what it prints, directly to print the ABC here. Okay, or you can write double quotations and you can write Shreyas. It will print directly Shreyas. Okay, or you can write triple quotes and you can write see here. This is the multiple line string. This is a workshop on data structures using Python. Okay. So whenever you want to write multiple lines of text, you may use triple quotes. Okay. Otherwise, you can go for single quotes and double quotes. Okay. And one more point here is if you write something like this. Sorry. If you write single quotes and if you write some X, for example. Okay. S1. Hello. Is it visible? The screen is. Hello.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So when I write the statement like the statement like the S1 is equal to within single quotes X. So generally in other programming languages like C or Java language, this is considered as a character. Am I right? Whenever you wrote a single letter within single quotes, that is considered as character in other programming languages. But here in Python language, there is no data type called as character. There is no character type in what we call Python language. Directly we have strings only. Even though you are writing single character within single quotes, that is considered as string object, not a character. Okay, this is a string object with length 1 here. Okay, so if you print this one, you can get the X here. If you want to check the type of this S1, you can write print the function named as type of S1. Okay, this function type function is always used to check whether the object is related to which type of object. We can check. See here, S1 place X print outundi. S1 is of type class str. That means str is, that means X or S1 is an object of type string here. Str means a string. Whatever the string objects you are creating, that is of type class str here. Okay. So please understand that there is no character type in Python language. Even though you are writing single character within single quotes, that is considered as string object. Okay. That is the string object with length 1 here. Okay. There are 3 important ways. And already I told you, if you want to read a string from the keyboard, directly you can use input function. Okay. The next, this is very important operation, that is slicing operation. This operation we can use in strings as well as in data structures in Python also. Okay. So listen carefully. This is very important slicing operation. So generally slicing means anybody tell me? In general, in English, what is meant by slicing? Slices or slicing. Slice means. Hello? Yeah, somebody typed, I think. No. Cutting. Yeah. So we can say partitioning into various parts. Okay. So anyway, here in strings concept, we can say a substring of a string is called as slice. Okay. A substring of a string is called as a slice. That means substring means which is a part of a string. So that means some part of the string is called as a slice here. So in order to obtain a substring, in order to obtain a substring from the string, we are going to perform this slicing operation. In Python language, whenever you want to obtain a substring from the original string, you have to perform the slicing operation. For performing this slicing operation, we are going to use a slice operator. The symbol for slice operator is square brackets. Okay. To perform this slicing operation, we are going to use slice operator. The symbol for slice operator is square brackets. Okay. So here the syntax for this slicing operation is we can write the string object name followed by square brackets, and we can write a starting index and colon followed by ending index. This is the general syntax what we are going to follow in for performing a slicing operation. Okay, the square brackets indicate this is the slicing operation, and in this operator we are specifying the starting index as well as ending index. In the place of this string, we can write the string object name, whatever you are writing. Okay, so here start specifying the starting index up to end minus 1 index. Okay, this slicing operator will give the substring starting from starting index up to the end minus 1. Okay, is it clear? And this starting index and ending index both are optional. Sometimes you may give the starting index, sometimes you may give ending index, sometimes you don't want to give both the values also. Okay, then also the slicing operation will work and it will give some output. Okay. Okay, now let me show you with one example. Let me take S1, small s1 is equal to, I am writing Shreyas. Okay, I am writing Shreyas here. My string object contains one value, that is Shreyas. Okay, and now if I write like this, S1 square brackets colon square brackets, that means I am not specifying the starting index, I am not specifying the ending index. Okay, I am not specifying the starting index, I am not specifying the ending index. If I am not specifying the starting index, if I am not specifying the ending index, then if you write the slicing operator and print function like this, this print function will print the entire string. Okay, there is no starting index, there is no ending index, means it will print the entire string. What is the entire string here? Shreyas. So it will print Shreyas directly. Okay. Is it clear? Then the second one is I am writing print of S1 of something 3. For example, I am writing. I am not specifying what we call. I am not specifying a starting index. I am specifying only ending index here. Okay. Before this, you can understand here in strings. In strings, the index starts from, generally in arrays, what is the index value starting from? 0, sorry, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So the array index values or the string index values are this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now, if I am writing S1 of colon 3, I am not specifying the starting index. If I am not specifying the starting index, it will take from 0 to 3 minus 1. That means 0 to 2. It will take, and up to that we will get the substring. From 0 to 2, what are the characters we have? S or E. Am I right? Hello? Somebody please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So then next, S1 of, I'm specifying the starting index, but I'm not specifying the ending index. Okay. If I'm specifying the starting index, then this operator will give the substring from 3 onwards until the last character. Okay. Here at third position, what is the character we have? What is the character at third position? Y. From starting from Y, it is giving up to the last character, that is IAS. Okay, like that you will get the substrings from the string. Suppose if you specify the both the strings, that is S1 of 1 to 5. For example, I'm writing 1:5. I'm writing here. That means I want to get the substring from first location to 5 minus 1 అంటే ఎక్కడ దాకా వస్తుంది 4 వరకు వస్తుంది 1 to 4. What I will get? REYA. Okay. So let me type the same thing in this editor. S1 is equal to Shreyas. Yeah, S1 is equal to Shreyas. Now I am printing directly S1 with no starting value, no ending value. Then what I will get directly? Entire string I will get, that is Shreyas. And if I write S1 of the last, specifying the ending index 3, that means 0 to 3 minus 1, we will get only SRE. See here, SRE. If I write print of S1 of 3 colon, we are not specifying the ending index. Then we can get 3 to the last character, that means we will get YAS. See here. If I specify starting index and as well as ending index 1:5, it starts from 1 up to 5 minus 1. That means we'll get REYA. See here. Okay. Like that you can get the substring from the string by using this slicing operator. Okay. Then in Python language, there is another interesting thing, that is we have the negative indexes also. That is not available in any other programming languages, but in Python language, we have the negative indexes also. Okay. So the negative indexes are, this is, sorry, is -6, sorry, this is -5, this is -4, this is -3, this is -2, this is -1. So let me, yeah, I can move like this, YAS. This is 1, this is 2, this is 4, this is 5. Yeah. So here the in Python language supports negative indexes also. Negative index means here we can have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and -6. Okay. So in the place of this starting index and ending index, you can specify the negative values also. That is possible. Okay. In the place of this starting and ending index values, it is possible to write the negative values also. Okay. If I write negative values, see the example here. S1 is equal to Shreyas. Directly we can type here, not in Notepad. Print of S1 colon -2. For example, I'm writing, sorry, S1 of colon -2. That means I'm specifying the ending value, not the starting value. Okay, I'm specifying the ending value here, not the hello. I'm specifying the ending value. That means up to ending -1, we will get from first character to అప్ టు -2 -1 అంటే ఎక్కడ దాకా వస్తుంది -3 దాకా వస్తుంది. ఓకేనా, అంటే స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి విల్ గెట్ అప్ టు -3. స్టార్టింగ్ అంటే SRE, what I am writing here, -2 కదా, that to -3 we are getting, అంటే SREY we will get. ఓకే, అర్థమవుతుందా? If I run this, you will get SREY. Okay, so if there is no starting index, it will start from first position onwards, that means from here onwards up to -2 కాబట్టి -2 -1 అంటే ఏమవుతుంది -3. సో up to -3 will print. So SREY we will get. Okay, okay, now if you write -5 here in the starting index, we will write -5. There is no ending index. That means it will start from -5. That means from here till the last. That means we will get REYAS. Okay, see here, we will get REYAS. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then if you specify something like this, -5 and -2, that means starting index is -5 up to -3. That means we will get -5 నుంచి -3 వరకు, అంటే we will get REY. If I run this, we will get REY here. Okay, like that you may use either positive indexes or negative indexes in the place of starting and ending index values. Okay, అర్థమైందా? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sometimes in this slicing operation, it is possible to use the third parameter also. In addition to this starting index and ending index, it is possible to use the third parameter, that is stride. Okay, this is the another way of using slicing operation. It is possible to use third parameter also in slicing operation, which is called as stride. Here stride is nothing but or stride represents the number of characters to be forwarded after receiving the first character from the string. Okay, this stride represents the number of characters to be forwarded after receiving the first character from the string. Okay, till now in these examples we are not using any stride argument, so by default this stride value is 1 ఉంటుంది. Okay, అలా కాకుండా if you want to specify this stride value, you can use either 2 or 3 or 4 like that, and you may use the negative values also. Okay, hello, yeah, let me show you with this example directly in the program. Yeah, here suppose I'm writing colon and colon. That means I'm not specifying the starting index, not specifying the ending index. Colon colon pakkana I'm writing a stride value. Suppose I'm writing stride value is 2 here. Okay, stride value is 2. That means first it will read first character, that is S. After that, from that character 2 characters will be skipped. That means S తర్వాత మళ్ళీ మనకి ఏమొస్తుంది, E వస్తుంది. ఓకేనా, ఈ తర్వాత మళ్ళీ A వస్తుంది. So if I run this program, you will get, yeah, here something is missing. Yeah, here that is missing. Yeah, here we'll get SEA. First character will be retrieved, followed by 2 character will be skipped. అంటే 1 2 skip చేస్తే థర్డ్ వస్తుంది, మళ్ళీ 4 థర్డ్ 4 skip చేస్తే 5 వస్తుంది. So we will get SEA. So 2 characters will be forwarded after receiving the first character. 1 2 forward చేస్తారు 3 వస్తుంది, 3 4 చేస్తారు 5 వస్తుంది, ఇంకా ఉంటే కనుక 5 6 7 వస్తుంది, నెక్స్ట్ 9, నెక్స్ట్ 11 like that, because we are using the stride value as here 2 కాబట్టి. Okay, are you getting my point? Hello,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So if I specify starting index is 1 and ending index is something 6, that means my starting index is 1 up to 6 minus 1, that is 1 to 5. 1 to 5 ante REYAS. In this, what is the first character? R. There you will get Y. then we will get S. Output will be RYS. See here, the output is RYS. So starting from first index up to fifth one. Then we increment or we forward 2 characters every time. So we will get the output as RYS. Okay. And one more point here is, if you write something colon in the place of stride, you are writing -1. Okay. Part is sorry. So if I write colon -1, that means there is no starting index, there is no ending index. I have written the negative value -1 in the stride place, then the string will be reversed. Okay. That means in order to reverse the string in Python language, you may write like this. Print S1 of colon -1, the string will be reversed. See here, SREYS, Shreyas is reversed. Okay. String reverse avvali ante ganaka you can write colon -1. So string is reversed. Okay. Then if you write some negative value -2 here, then you will get something like this, SYR. So negative value kabatti zero start avutundi kabatti first S, then Y, then R. Okay, it is starting from reverse. Okay, first S, then Y, then R. Okay, like that you can use the starting index, ending index, and the third parameter called as stride. That stride represents the number of characters which are forwarded after receiving the first character. Okay, now is it clear? The slicing operation is the important thing in Python is Python supports negative indexes also. That is not there in any other programming languages. Either in C language or Java language, if you write negative index, obviously you will get compile time error. Okay, or you can get the runtime error called index is not found, like that. But the Python supports positive values as well as negative indexes also. Okay, the next one is built-in string methods, or we can say string handling methods. Okay, and in Python language, all the string objects, whatever the string objects you are using, all the string objects are immutable objects. All the string objects are immutable objects. Okay, that means once the string object has been initialized, it is not possible to change the value of the string object. That is not possible. Okay, once you assign one value to the string object, that value cannot be modified. That value cannot be changed, because string objects are always mutable objects. Okay, string objects are always immutable objects. Okay, immutable means changing is not possible. Okay, now the next one is built-in string methods. There are various methods in Python language for handling the string objects. That means to perform some operations on strings, we are going to use some of the predefined methods available in Python. Okay, the first method is which is very familiar to you, that is len. That function will take the parameter called as string. So this function purpose is to find the length of the string. Length is nothing but how many characters we have inside the string, that is called as length of the string. So this len function will give length of the string. Then the second one is, first I will tell you all the things, then we will see the examples in editor. Okay, the next one is capitalize. The next method is capitalize. This method purpose is to capitalize the first character, to capitalize the first character of the string. Okay, whatever the string you are using, in that string, if you want to capitalize the first character, then you have to use this capitalize function. Okay. Then next, the third one is count. The method called as count here. The purpose of this count method is it counts how many times the specified substring or the specified string is available in the string. How many times the specified str is available in the string object that is returned by the count function. Okay, that means count function is always give the integer values. Okay, how many times the specified string is available in the string, that will be returned by the count function. Okay, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then next, so if I am writing empty parenthesis here, that means this function or this method does not take any parameters. This method does not take any parameters here. Okay. Sorry, count method takes some parameters. So let me tell you the parameters also. So count of what we can write. First we can write the string str, comma, beginning and ending. There are three parameters taken by the count function. This str should be whatever the substring you want to count. That string you can pass here. Then starting index, then ending index you have to pass. Okay, so that this count function will check for this str only from this index to this index. Other than that, it will not consider. Okay. Then next one is find function. Next one is find function. This function will checks whether the specified string is available or not. Whether the specified str is available in the string or not. Okay. Py function emo just it will check, it will count how many times it repeated. But this find function will check whether the particular substring is available or not. This also takes three parameters. One is str, second one is starting index, and third one is the ending index. Okay. Let me show you these four functions in with example. Okay. Now let me take the string. One string I want to take, that is s1 is equal to, for example, hello world. And if I print len of s1, so length function will take one parameter, that is s1 kabatti I cannot print len of s1. So this string, how many characters we have? 5 plus 5, 10, including space we have totally 11 characters. So output will be 11 here. Okay. S1 is equal to hello world, print len of S1, we will get the output as 11 here. Okay. Then suppose I am writing here small letters, this capital letter. Now I am writing print of S1 dot capitalize. Okay. I am writing S1 dot capitalize. This function will always capitalize the first character available in your string object. So this H will be converted into capital letter. See here. Hello world. Okay. Okay now. Then.
Yes, sir.
Then if I check, if I use count function. For count function, we have to give the three parameters. One is substring. Here I'm giving the 0 here. And starting index is 0. And up to I'm giving length of S1. Length of S1. That means I want to count how many times 0 will be repeated in my string, starting from 0 up to the last character. So I'm writing length of S1 here. Okay. So in the entire string, how many times 0 is there? How many times O, not 0, O. O is there? 2 times. What is this one? Length of S1. Yeah, there is one more bracket is required. So, yeah. It requires 2 times. O is repeated 2 times. So the count function will count how many times this particular character is repeated. Okay. So if you check anything, if you write L, how many times L is there? 3 times. So we'll get output as 3. So count function always counts how many times the specified substring is available in the string. Okay. Now the find function also takes 3 parameters. Okay. Find function also takes 3 parameters. See here. If I write S1 dot find of L O, sorry, 0 and len of S1, I will get 2 here. That means that nothing but the first occurrence of L in the entire string, small l is occurred at which position? This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. The first occurrence of L will be returned by this find function. Okay. So if I write something O, what I will get? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You will get 4 here. See here. Okay. Are you getting my point? Hello? Like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like that you may use what we call the length function or capitalize function, find function and count function. Okay. The next function we are going to see is alphanumeric. Okay. The function name is alphanumeric. Okay. This function returns true if the string contains at least one character. Sorry. If the string contains at least one character and the character, that means each character is either alphabet or numerical value. Okay. This function returns true value if the string contains at least one character and each character is either alphabet or numerical value. Otherwise, you will get false. Okay. This function will give Boolean values either true or false. True ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది అంటే కనుక if the string whatever you are using is containing alphabets or numerical values, then you will get the true. Otherwise, you will get false value. Okay. Then the next function is alpha. This function returns true if each character is an alphabet. Each character is an alphabet, then it returns true value. Otherwise, false value. Okay. The earlier function checks either character or numerical value. But is alpha function is true only if each character is alphabet only, returns true value. Otherwise, you will get a false value. Then each space. This function returns true if the string contains only space. Okay. If string contains only space. String లో ఇంకేం ఉండకూడదు, ఓన్లీ స్పేసే ఉండాలి. అప్పుడే ట్రూ వస్తుంది. Otherwise, false వస్తుంది. Okay. If the string contains only space, we will get true. otherwise false. The next one is digit. Okay, this function returns true if the string contains only digits. If the string contains only digits, otherwise you will get false. Okay, and the next function is upper. The purpose of this function is returns true if every character in string is uppercase letter. Every character in a string is a uppercase letter. Okay, అంటే ప్రతి లెటర్ కూడా ప్రతి క్యారెక్టర్ కూడా క్యాపిటల్ లెటర్ అయితే you will get true value, otherwise false. Okay, similarly you have is lower. This function returns true value if each character in the string is lowercase letter. Each character in string is a lowercase letter. Then we will get a true value, otherwise false. Okay, all these functions are going to check whether your string contains alphabets or spaces or digits or uppercase letters or lowercase letters. That is the purpose of all these 6 functions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 function purpose is we are going to check what the string contains actually. Okay, so here if I write s1 is equal to hello world, and if I write s1 dot is alphanumeric. Okay, sorry, alphanumeric ante ALNUM. LNUM. Okay, so this is alphanumeric function will return true if your string contains at least one character and that character is alphabet. Even alphabets kada, so we will get output as true value. Why it is getting false? Yeah. Is alphanumeric. Yeah. Yeah. What has happened here is here we have space. So let me remove this space. I'm writing hello only. So you will get true here. Yeah. Okay. If your string contains only alphabets or alphanumerical characters, then if you write something like this, hello 1, 2, 3, then also you will get a true value here because it allows both alphabets as well as numerical values. Okay. Other than this, if any character is there like space or special symbols unte ganaka you will get false. Okay. If you write hello space, you will get false here. Okay, only it allows alphabets and numerical characters. Okay, ade ila undanukondi hello, and here we can write is alpha. This checks only the alphabets. Ivanni alphabets e kada, you will get true value here. If any number is there, you will get false. See here, getting my point? Okay. And what is the next function? Is space. In this string, there is no space, so we will get false value here. See here. Okay, now. Then also we will get false. Only space untene you will get true, otherwise you will get false. See here. You will get true here because we have only space here. There is no characters, so we'll get true value here. Okay, na? Then if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all are digits. Then if you write is digit, you will get true value. Okay, and digits unte karke you will get true value. Otherwise, if any character is there, you will get false. Okay. So if
Yes,
hello is there and is upper, you will get false value here because we have the lower letters here. If you have all characters or uppercase letters, you will get a true value. Otherwise false. If all are small, if you use is lower, you will get true value. Otherwise false. You will get false value here because all are capital letters. We are using is lower function, so we getting what we call false. Then the next function is lower and the next function is upper. These two functions purpose is to convert uppercase to lowercase by this function. To convert lowercase into uppercase, we are using this function. Each and every character in the string will be converted into uppercase by this function. Each and every character in the string will be converted into lowercase by this function. Okay. Then the next function is strip. Next function is strip. strip. Okay. So the purpose of this strip function is removes all the leading and trailing spaces. All the leading and trailing white spaces available in string. Okay. In your string, if you have the leading white spaces or trailing white spaces, అంటే మీరు ఇచ్చే string కి before or after, if there is any white spaces, those white spaces will be removed by using this strip function. Okay. So here, if I give some space here, and if I write s1 dot strip, then in the output we will not get any spaces. That we will get a hello here. Ade, if you are not writing strip function, if you write s1, you will get space. See here, some space is there, okay. If you use strip, those white spaces before and after will be removed. Okay. దీంట్లోనే you have L strip and R strip ఉంటాయి. L strip means only the leading spaces will be removed. See here, only the front space will be removed. Okay. If you have R strip, only trailing will be removed. Leading will be as it is. Okay. But రెండు ఒకసారి రిమూవ్ చేయాలంటే you can go for strip. S1 dot strip, you can remove at a time all the leading white spaces and trailing white spaces. Okay. Then the next function is replace. This function is replaces all occurrences of the old characters. Whatever you are passing, old characters or substrings with new characters or new substrings. All the old characters will be replaced with the new characters. Okay. The syntax for this replace function is replace. You can write old character or old substring followed by the new substring. Okay. You can write replace of old comma new. Okay. That means you can write old substring as well as new substring. Okay. See here. Yeah. See here. Here our string is hello. Okay. Now I'm writing s1 dot replace of, I want to replace capital L with the capital B. Okay. Then what happened? You will get HEBO. Okay. This is old character. This is a new character. It will replaces all the occurrences of L with B here. That is the purpose of replace function. Okay. Then the next function is title. This function returns the title of the string. Returns the title of the string. Generally, title means we are going to write each and every word in the title is a capital letter. Okay. So, for example, if you are writing here in this example, if you write Shreyas College of Engineering, Raser, then you are writing S1 dot the function name is title. It will give the what it gives title of the string. That means each and every word in this entire S1 is converted into capital letter. See here, S is capital, C is capital, O is capital, and E is capital. Okay, each and every word will start with capital letters here. So we will get Shreyas College of Engineering like this. That's the purpose of title function. Okay. Then the next function is swap case. Next function is swap case. This function toggles. This function toggles the case of every character. This function toggles the case of every character. So toggles means reverse చేస్తుంది. అంటే క్యాపిటల్ ఉంటే స్మాల్ లెటర్ అవుతుంది, స్మాల్ లెటర్ ఉంటే కనుక క్యాపిటల్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, క్యాపిటల్ లెటర్ ఉంటే స్మాల్ లెటర్ ఉంటే క్యాపిటల్ లెటర్ అవుతుంది. So here if you see the example, suppose I am writing HELLO. H is capital letter, remaining all are small letters. Then I am writing S1 dot swap case. Okay, then what happened? H is converted into small letter, remaining all converted into capital letters. HELLO. Okay. Okay now.
Sir, there are some queries in chat box.
Yeah. I didn't see that one actually. Yeah. What is the question, sir? You said string is immutable, then replace function is changing the characters. Yeah. So here, whenever we are using the replace, see here, replace of capital L comma capital B. Sorry, single quotes capital B. Okay. Then after that, if you print S1, see the output here. What you are getting here? HEBBO for first this one. Second one, you are writing S1. That means you are writing actual string. That means that replace function returns one new string. In that string, L will be replaced with B. We are not replacing the character in the original string. Okay. This function will give one new string. That string will contain HEBBO. The original string is not modified. Are you getting my point? Okay. Strings are immutable objects. There is no doubt in that. Okay. So here replace means this function will return one string. That string only contains the you can write like this. S2 is equal to S1 dot replace of capital L comma capital B. Then if you print S2, see here, S2 is Hebbo and S1 is hello. అర్థమవుతుందా? This function returns one new string, that is S2, that contains HBBO, but the original string will not be modified. Are you getting my point? Is it clear? The one who asked the question. Okay, Namma. Yeah. The next function is split function. So the purpose of this split function is this function returns a list of strings. Returns a list of strings based on specified delimiter. Based on specified delimiter. That means based on the passing delimiter, it will what we called it will tokenize your string into several strings. That several strings will be written as list of strings here. Okay. So for this, see the some example here. Suppose I'm writing Shreyas College of Engineering. Okay. Now I'm writing S1 dot split. Generally, this split function will take one delimiter as a parameter. But here I am not passing any delimiter. If I am not passing any delimiter, by default it takes a white space as delimiter. That means up to this space, this is one substring, this is another substring, this is another substring, this is another substring. Totally we have 4 substrings here. That 4 substrings we will get as the list of strings here. See here, we will get first substring, second substring, third substring, and fourth substring. Based on white space, this will be tokenized or splitted into 4 substrings. Okay. Ala kakunda, if in this if you have any symbol like comma undanukondi, okay, for example, you can use that comma for dividing this string. So you can give here comma here. Then based on that you can get Shreyas College of Engineering. Okay. So you can pass delimiter or you cannot pass delimiter also. Pass cheyochu, pass cheyakapovachu. ఒకవేళ పాస్ చేస్తే గనక you will get what we call, based on that delimiter you will get the output. Okay. అర్థమైందా? You can use any delimiter. So suppose I'm using S1 is equal to something A, B, C, colon, D, E, F, colon, G, H, I, colon, J, K, L. For example, here I can write colon here. Then what I will get? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J, K, L. Okay. This is very much useful when we have the long text. If you want to tokenize the text into several strings, it is useful. Split function. Okay. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The last function is join. The last function in strings is join function. This is exactly opposite to the split function. Split function is just divide list of strings ni divide chestundi based on the delimiter. This join function is exactly opposite to the split function. This function will joins a list of substrings. List of substrings using the delimiter. Using the delimiter. By using delimiter, we are going to join the substrings. Okay now. అర్థమవుతుందా? So let me take the example. Here I can take the list of substrings. So I can take L1 is equal to L1 is equal to square brackets. I'm writing A, B, C, and I can write comma and I can write def, and I can write ghi. Okay, I am having 3 substrings here. Then I can write print of s1 dot join, s1 dot join of L1. Okay, and here the first parameter I can pass is what we called the delimiter, maybe something arrow I'm giving. Then what happened? These 3 things. S1 is sorry. No. S1 here. Yeah, see here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. All these 3 substrings will be joined by using this delimiter arrow. In the place of this arrow, if you write something semicolon, these are combined with semicolon. A, B, C, semicolon, D, E, F, semicolon, G, H, I. Okay. So based on this delimiter, this entire substrings will be joined. Okay. Okay, now is it clear? That's about
Yes, sir.
yeah, that's about the string handling functions available in Python language. We have around 18 functions. Okay, these are all important functions for handling strings. Okay, in this important one is slicing operation, very important. Okay, yeah. Then next, now we are going to see data structures in Python language. Okay, data structures in Python language. Okay, so already we have seen what is maybe data structure. So data structure is nothing but collection of elements, or we can say group of elements, which provides an efficient way for storing and organizing the data in a computer so that the data can be used very efficiently in future operations. That is the actual definition of data structure. Okay, so in Python language supports or provides the predefined data structures. Okay, and here in Python language we consider the sequence is a basic data structure. Okay, Python lo what name antaru sequence antaru. Sequence is a basic data structure. Okay, so in this sequence, each element has a specific index value. If you want to access any element from the sequence, you have to use that index value. Okay, so in Python there are some predefined data structure which are called as sequences. Okay, so here in Python language we have the following data structures. One is lists, second one is tuples, and third one is sets, and the fourth one is dictionaries. Lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. These 4 are the predefined sequences or built-in sequences available in what we call Python language. Okay, we will see one by one. First we will see lists, then we will see tuples, then we will see sets, then followed by dictionaries. These are very, very important because if you know these things, then whenever you want to implement either stacks or queues or trees or linked lists in Python language, by using any one of these sequences, it is possible to implement those data structures. Okay, so it is very important to understand all these concepts. So the first one is lists. Okay, so list is nothing but generally we can say list is a collection of elements. Am I right? In general, list means collection of elements. In Python language, we can say list is a sequence in which the data elements are written as comma separated values. Comma separated values within square brackets. Comma separated values within square brackets is called as a list. Okay, it is a collection of elements, but those elements are specified as comma separated values within the square brackets. And whenever you want to write any list, that list should be enclosed within the square brackets. Within square brackets, you can write some collection of elements that is considered as list. So in Python, whenever you find out square brackets, that is considered as list. Remember that. Okay. So the syntax for writing the list is like this. We can write the list variable is equal to square brackets. You can write the element 1, element 2, so and so. You can write n number of elements. In the place of list variable, you can write any variable name and you can store any number of elements. First element, second element, third element, fourth, fifth, up to you can write any number of n number of elements you can store. Okay. And these elements ELE1, ELE2, ELE3, ELE4 unnai kada. These elements should be of any kind of type. Okay, should be any kind of type. Ante that may be the numbers, that may be the strings, or that may be the decimal point numbers, or that may be the combination of numbers and strings, whatever it is. Okay, anything you can store inside these strings. Sorry, inside this lists. Okay, example. I can write like this. L1 is equal to square brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I am writing all our numbers. Okay, this is one way. And second way is I can write L1 is equal to, I can write all our strings. So I can write A, B, C, D, E, F, some X, Y, Z. Ila could write all our strings. Or you may write a combination of both. You can write number and you can write a single character, that is a string. The next string, anything. So this element 1, element 2, and so on. So these are should be of any type. Okay. So we can write like this. L1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to print this list, you can write print of L1. You will get the output as square brackets. In the output also you will get square brackets here. Please observe. So whenever the square bracket is there, that is the list. This is the list of elements. Okay. So you can store anything, not only numbers. You can store any strings like this, X, Y, Z. If you print, it will print the same thing. Or you can take anything 1, ABC, XYZ, combination of numbers and strings also. Okay, like that you can take any type of values inside the list. Okay, that is the way of creating lists. So here we are creating a list and we are directly assigning values to the list elements. Suppose as a programmer in your program, you want to read or you want to assign the elements to the list at runtime. Okay, at runtime you want to specify or you want to give the values to the string. Okay, this is the directly we are giving values to the list. Okay, but if you want to assign the values at runtime to the list, okay, this is the assigning the data elements. Data elements in list at runtime. Runtime values ivvali ante ela istarante, first you have to write one empty list. First you have to write empty list. L1 is equal to empty square brackets. Okay, then you can use for loop to give or to assign the data elements in list. Okay, Okay, now. So I'm writing some prompt here. That is what is my prompt here? Enter elements. Okay. Then I'm writing for loop. The syntax of for loop is for loop control variable in the range function and 1,6 I am giving. That means this range will generate the numbers from 1 to 5. So I want to store 5 values in this list L1. Okay. Adhamavutundamma? In this list, I want to store 5 values. So I'm writing range of 1,6. If you want to store 10 values, you can give 1,11. Okay. Then after that here, I have to read one integer value from the keyboard. So from the keyboard, if you want to read the one integer, what you have to use? Input function. Okay. Here there is nothing prompt here. And this will be typecasted into integer. Am I right? Antena. This will be typecasted into integer. This is not required. Yeah. Int of input. And whatever the input we are giving, that will be stored in one variable. A is equal to int of input. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And this value A, whatever the value you are reading from the keyboard, that will be added to this list. Okay. Read that value you are going to add to this list. So for that purpose, you have to use the append function. Appending means adding at the end. So list key ante L1 ki you are adding at the end. Unnadaniki add chestuntaru. L1 dot append of A. So that the first number is added to list, then second number, then third number, then fourth number, then finally fifth number. Okay. So here, let me show you with the execution. First, what I'm writing? Square brackets. Empty square bracket, empty list. Then what is the prompt here? Print enter elements. Then I can write for loop here for I in range of 1,6. Then colon. Then here I can write A is equal to int of input of some nothing. Then I can L1 dot append of A. Then finally I can print the after for loop I can print the L1 here. Okay. If I run this program, it will ask for enter the elements. Then if I give 5, sorry. If I give 5, then 10, then 20, then 30, then 40. See here, my list contains 5, 10, 20, 30, 40. Whatever values we are giving, those values will be stored in the list. Like that, you can assign data elements at runtime to the list. Okay. Is it clear? So it is possible to give directly values to the list like this, or if you want, you can give runtime also by using for loop like this. Okay. Your wish depends on your program. You can use any one of these way for initialization of list. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The next one is slicing operation performed on lists. So already you know slicing operation in strings. Slicing operation not only on strings, we are going to perform slicing operation on data structures in Python also. That means in lists, okay, in tuples, okay. So we are going to perform this slicing operation. Okay, yeah. So slicing means already you know we are going to get the substrings from the string. That's string lo aithe. Ade list lo aithe ganaka if you want to obtain a set of data elements from the list, you are going to perform the slicing operation. ఓకే, లిస్ట్ లో ఉన్న ఎలిమెంట్స్ లో నుంచి మీకు కొన్ని ఎలిమెంట్స్ కావాలనుకోండి. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు అప్టైన్ ఓన్లీ సమ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద లిస్ట్, దెన్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు పెర్ఫార్మ్ దిస్ slicing operation. Okay, so here also the same syntax. Okay, the here we can use list variable and you can specify the start and end and you can specify the stride. Okay, list variable basically that list name, the starting index, ending index and stride. Directly we can see the example here. Let us write one string. My string contains only numbers 1 2 3 4 5 7 6 8. Okay, now if I write print of L1 square brackets only colon, that means I am not specifying the ending value, I am not specifying the starting value. Then what I will get? I will get the entire list as output. Am I right? See here, it will print the entire list 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, okay now. Other if you write 2 columns, then also you will get the same output with the entire list here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, then if you write colon and 5, that means starting is 0 up to 4. So 0 1 2 3 4 and we will get 1 2 3 4 5. See here, the output is 1 2 3 4 5. అర్థమవుతుందా?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we are writing 4 colon means we will get 5 6 7 8 starting from 4 up to the last one. Okay, like that you can write any kind of operations using this slice operator. So if you write 2 colon 5 colon, we are specifying starting index and ending index, we are not specifying the stride value. Then what happened here is we start from 2 index, that means 0 1 2, that means 3 నుంచి up to 5 minus 1 అంటే 4 వరకు అంటే ఏమొస్తాయి 3 4 5. You will get 3 4 5 here. Okay, అర్థమైందా? అదే if you write colon colon 2, that means we are starting from starting index to last value. My stride value is 2, that means 2 elements are forwarded after receiving the first element. So we will get first 1, then 3, then 5, then 7. The output is 1 3 5 7. Okay na?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see here, చెప్పాను కదా in strings, if you write colon colon minus 1, the string is reversed there, but here the list is reversed 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, it is possible to use positive index values or negative index values also. Okay, so whatever we are using in strings, the same we can use in lists also for slicing operation. But here earlier we use the string variable name, but here we use the list variable name. That's the only change. Remaining everything is same. The same positive index values and the same negative values. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 ఉంటాయి ఇక్కడ -1 -2 -3 -4 -5 -6 -7 -8. Those are negative index values. Okay, is it clear the slicing operation in lists? Clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yeah. Then next one is built-in methods available in lists. Okay, built-in methods available in lists. Yeah, so the first method is append. First method is append method. This method adds a new element This method adds a new element to the list at the end. Always appending means at the end. So this append function always, or append method always adds the new element at the end of the list. Already ఉన్న లిస్ట్ కి కొత్త ఎలిమెంట్ యాడ్ చేయాలి ఎండింగ్ లో అంటే కనుక you have to use this append function. Okay, for example, if you write something like this 1 2 3 4 5, okay, then after this if you call l1 dot append of 6 అన్నారు అనుకోండి, 6 will be added after 5. Okay, if you print l1 you will get 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so appending means always it will add the new element at the end of the list. ఉన్న లిస్ట్ కి ఎండింగ్ లో కొత్త నోడ్ యాడ్ చేయాలి అంటే కనుక you have to use this. You have to use this append function. Okay, the next. So shall I copy this one? We run this, I will get 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, we are adding 6 at the end of the original list. Okay, then the next one is count function. In strings also we have seen the count function. There in strings the count function returns or counts how many times a specified substring is available in the list or in the string, whereas in lists it will counts how many times the specified element, how many times the specified element is available in list. Okay, how many times the specified element is available in list, it will be counted by using this count function. Okay, for example here let me see this 5 6 7 8, and if I write the statement like this, print l1 dot count of something 4. How many times 4 is repeated here? How many times 4 is repeated? Only one time, so output is 1 here. Okay, so it will check how many times the specified element is available. Okay, now is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if time is there, is that time is there, or we will wind up today?
We'll continue tomorrow, sir.
Okay, because there are around 10 to 12 functions is there. Okay, that's why. Yeah, tomorrow we will see. Is the today's session is clear? Hello. Is today's
sir, it's
session
clear.
is, yeah. Yeah,
Sir, can you place this text document, sir?
this test document.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, I will place in chat box. Okay, now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I will place. Yeah, I shared that notepad also. Okay, in chat box. If anyone wants, you can access. Okay. If you have any doubts in today's class, please ask me. If you have any doubts in today's session. And yesterday I given some programs. Some members are sent the program with output to my mail. Very few members are sent. Okay, even though you are not sending, no problem, but try to practice, because programming languages, while learning, it is okay. It is very good. But while practicing, you will get so many doubts. How to